Belmont Park, June 23, 1920. The crowd falls silent. In the paddock stands a chestnut giant, 17 hands of rippling muscle, eyes blazing with barely contained fury. His groom struggles to hold him. His coat gleams like polished copper in the afternoon sun. They call him Man o' War. In 20 races, he has lost only once. Today, at the Belmont Stakes, he will run into immortality. The gates explode open. What happens next will be talked about for the next 100 years. This is the story of the greatest racehorse America has ever known. A story of fire, fury, heartbreak, and redemption. A story of one impossible defeat and 20 magnificent victories. This is Man o' War. Spring 1917. While Europe tears itself apart in the Great War, in the rolling bluegrass hills of Lexington, Kentucky, something extraordinary is about to happen. At Nursery Stud Farm, owned by the wealthy sportsman August Belmont Jr., a mare named Mahuba is about to give birth. Her bloodlines trace back to England, elegant, refined, built for endurance. The stallion, Fair Play, carries different DNA entirely. Power, aggression, an almost violent turn of speed. March 29, 1917, 3 a.m. The foal arrives in darkness. The stable hands gather around, lanterns casting shadows on the stall walls. The newborn colt staggers to his feet, his coat the color of burnished chestnuts, a small white star on his forehead. Head groom Harry Vitat leans over to the night watchman. "Look at the bone on him," he whispers. "Look at that chest." Even at birth, he's different, bigger, his legs too long, his frame too large, his presence too commanding for a newborn. Within hours, he's nursing aggressively, shoving his mother aside, demanding more. They name him Man o' War, after Belmont's own father, who had served with distinction in the Navy. But August Belmont Jr. will never see what he's created. July 1918. August Belmont Jr. receives his commission. He's heading to Europe, to the war, and he's liquidating his racing stable. Everything must be sold. The yearling sale at Saratoga. Man o' War, now 15 months old, enters the sales ring. He's gangly, awkward, still growing into his massive frame. He tosses his head, fights the handler, nearly breaks free. Wealthy horseman Samuel D. Riddle watches from the stands. A conservative man, cautious with money, traditional in his thinking. His trainer, Louis Faustel, leans over. "That colt, sir, the chestnut." "He looks like trouble," Riddle mutters. "He looks like lightning in a bottle." The bidding stalls at $5,000. Riddle hesitates, then raises his hand. Sold. $5,000. The bargain of the century. As they lead the colt from the ring, he rears, screaming, hooves pouring the air. 3 men struggle to control him. Samuel D. Riddle has just bought a Hurricane. Faraway Farm, Maryland. Winter 1918. Louis Faustel stands in the training barn, watching the young colt. Man o' War is 19 months old now, and he's a terror. He kicks, he bites, he fights the saddle like it's trying to kill him. "He's rank," the assistant trainer says. "Maybe we should geld him." Faustel's eyes never leave the colt. "Touch him, and you're fired." The truth is, Faustel is terrified, not of the horse, of failing him, because underneath all that fury, he sees something he's never seen before. A stride that devours ground, hindquarters that coil like springs, a heart that refuses to accept limits. The breakthrough comes in March 1919. Exercise rider Clyde Gordon climbs aboard for the first time. Man o' War explodes from the mounting block, bucking, twisting. Gordon holds on. They rocket down the training track, faster, faster, the colt's hooves barely touching the ground. When they finally pull up, Gordon's face is white. "Mr. Foistel," he gasps, "I have never felt anything like it. It's like riding thunder." Foistel allows himself a small smile. "Get used to it," he says, "because in 2 months, the whole world is going to feel it." Belmont Park, New York, June 6, 1919. Man o' War's first race. A 5-furlong sprint for maidens, horses that have never won. The betting crowd barely notices him. He's 3-1 in the odds, behind a colt named Retrieve. In the paddock, Man o' War is electric. Sweating, dancing, his eyes rolling. Jockey Johnny Loftus, a tough, experienced rider with hands like iron, approaches carefully. "How do I ride him?" Loftus asks. Foistel pauses. "Just hang on." The gates spring open. Man o' War stumbles, loses 2 lengths immediately. Retrieve surges to the front, opening 3, 4, 5 lengths. The crowd buzzes. The favorite is getting away. But at the quarter pole, something changes. Man o' War's ears pin flat. His stride lengthens. Suddenly he's flying, closing 1 length, 2, 3. At the 8th pole, he draws even. Retrieve's jockey whips desperately. Man o' War pulls away. Not gradually, explosively. He crosses the wire 6 lengths clear. Time, 1 minute 11.6 seconds. Track record for a 2-year-old. In the stands, Samuel Riddle grips the railing, speechless. Johnny Loftus trots back, grinning ear to ear. "Mr. Riddle," he shouts, "we've got the Kentucky Derby winner right here." He has no idea how wrong he'll be. Race 2, Keene Memorial Stakes. Man o' War wins by 3. Jockey barely moves. Race 3, Youthful Stakes, by 2 lengths. Makes it look easy. Race 4, Hudson Stakes, by 3 lengths. Starting to draw real crowds now. Newspapers begin to notice. The Red Terror, one headline reads, "Riddle's Rocket, Race 5, Tremont Stakes, by 8 lengths." Now they're scared of him. Race 6, United States Hotel Stakes. The field won't even challenge. He wins alone, barely breathing hard. By August 1919, Man o' War is undefeated. 5 starts, 5 wins. Margins growing larger every time. Trainers are ducking him. Owners are scratching their horses rather than face him. Samuel Riddle is getting nervous. Not about losing, but about expectations. "They're calling him invincible," he tells Foistel. "Maybe he is," Foistel replies. "Nothing is invincible, Lewis." "Wait till Saratoga," Foistel says, smiling. "Then we'll know for sure." He has no idea what's coming. Saratoga Springs, New York, August 13th, 1919. The Sanford Memorial Stakes, 6 furlongs. 7 2-year-olds entered. Man o' War is 1-2 odds. Unthinkable money on a horse this young. The betting public isn't even watching the race. They're watching him. It's not if he'll win. It's by how much. But something is wrong. At the barrier, racers in 1919 don't use starting gates, just a tape stretched across the track. Man o' War is agitated, spinning, fighting Johnny Loftus. The starter, C.H. Pettingill, is struggling to get the field aligned. A colt named Golden Broom breaks through the tape early. False start. The horses mill around, confused. They line up again. Man o' War is facing the wrong direction. "Wait!" Loftus shouts, trying to spin him around. The tape flies up. They're off. Man o' War is caught flat-footed. He breaks 10 lengths behind the field. The crowd gasps. Loftus digs in, urging him forward. Man o' War responds. He's flying now, passing horses like they're standing still. 1, 2, 3, 4. At the quarter pole, he's 5th. At the half, he's 3rd. The leader is a colt named Upset. A good horse, but not great. 20-1 odds. Man o' War draws alongside at the top of the stretch. The crowd is screaming. They're even, nose to nose, 50 yards to go. Man o' War surges, but he's out of room. Upset holds him off by half a length. The silence at Saratoga is deafening. Man o' War has lost. In the jockey room afterward, Johnny Loftus sits with his head in his hands. "It was my fault," he whispers. "All my fault. I let him get turned around. I should have." Foistel puts a hand on his shoulder. "It's racing, Johnny. It happens. But it doesn't happen to horses like this. I've seen thousands of races in my lifetime, but I've never seen a horse that was beaten, and yet everyone watching knew he was the best horse in the race. That was Man o' War at Saratoga. He didn't lose. He just didn't win." Turf writer John Hervey, 1935. The defeat haunts Samuel Riddle, haunts Loftus, haunts everyone who witnessed it. Man o' War will race 13 more times in his career. He will never lose again. After Saratoga, something changes. Man o' War doesn't just win his next races, he annihilates them. Grand Union Hotel. Stakes, 8 lengths. Ears pinned the entire race. Hopeful Stakes. 5 lengths. Breaking track records. Belmont Futurity Stakes. The richest race for 2-year-olds in America. He wins by 3, setting another record. Earnings, $26,000 in a single race. Unheard of. Crowds swell. 30,000 people show up just to watch him train. Newspapers run front-page stories. He's not just a racehorse anymore, he's a phenomenon. But the ghost of Saratoga lingers. Winter, 1919 to 1920. Johnny Loftus is banned from racing. The official reason? Irregularities in riding. The real reason remains murky. Some say gambling connections, others say he pulled horses to fix races. He swears he's innocent. But Samuel Riddle has a decision to make. Keep Loftus and face scrutiny, or find a new rider. He chooses a new jockey, Clarence Cummer. Smooth, professional, less flashy than Loftus. Man o' War doesn't care. He'd run fast for anyone. But fans whisper, was Saratoga really Loftus's fault? Or was it fate? May 18th, 1920. Pimlico Racecourse, Baltimore. The Preakness Stakes. Man o' War's first race of his 3-year-old season. He's been training brilliantly. Foistel has him razor sharp. But there's one problem. Samuel Riddle refuses to run him in the Kentucky Derby. It's too early, Riddle insists. The Derby is in May. He's not ready. The truth? Riddle thinks it's bad for young horses. He believes in patience, in careful management. It's a decision that will define Man o' War's legacy and rob him of history. But at the Preakness, none of that matters. The gates open. Man o' War surges to the front. No stumble this time. No drama. Just power. He wins by a length and a half. Barely asked for his best. The time? 1 minute 51.6 seconds. A stakes record. The crowd roars. He's back. June 23rd, 1920. Belmont Park. The Belmont Stakes. 1 3/8 miles. The longest, most grueling of the Triple Crown races. Man o' War is facing only one rival, a colt named Donnacona. Everyone else has scratched. They won't even try. In the paddock, Man o' War is calm. Too calm. Fustel watches him carefully. Is he ready? Riddle asks. He's ready, Fustel says. He's been ready for this his whole life. They're off. Man-o'-war breaks clean. Comer lets him settle into stride. Long, sweeping, effortless. Donnacona tucks in behind, trying to save ground. The half-mile, 48 seconds, fast. 3/4, 1:12, blazing fast. Man-o'-war is cruising, not straining, not laboring, just running. At the mile marker, Comer glances back. Donnacona is gone, 15 lengths back, 20. The crowd is on its feet. They're not cheering anymore, they're witnessing. Man-o'-war enters the home stretch alone. The margin keeps growing. 25 lengths, 30. Comer doesn't touch him with the whip, doesn't need to. Man-o'-war is running because that's what he does. Because he can't help himself. He crosses the wire. The margin, 20 lengths. The time, 2 minutes, 14.2 seconds. A world record. The crowd is silent for a heartbeat. Then the roar begins, waves of sound, rolling through the grandstand. Women are crying. Men are shaking their heads in disbelief. A newspaper reporter turns to his colleague. I've just seen something I'll never see again. Samuel Riddle stands in the winner's circle, tears in his eyes. Louis Fustel strokes Man-o'-war's neck, whispering, "That's my boy. That's my champion." Man-o'-war tosses his head, barely breathing hard. 20 lengths, the greatest Belmont performance in history. It will stand for 53 years, until another big chestnut horse named Secretariat breaks it. The victories pile up like snowdrifts. Stuyvesant Handicap, 4 lengths, barely trying. Dwyer Stakes, 7 lengths, track record. Miller Stakes, 6 lengths, yawning. Travers Stakes at Saratoga, scene of his only defeat. He wins by 1, but the time is extraordinary. The crowd gives him a standing ovation. Redemption, Lawrence Realization Stakes, 100 lengths. Yes, 100. The field quits trying. Man-o'-war finishes alone. So far ahead, the second-place horse isn't even visible. Trainers start refusing to race against him. Owners pull their horses. Racing secretaries beg Riddle to give other horses a chance. "You're killing the sport," one official tells him. Riddle just smiles. "No," he says, "we're showing them what greatness looks like." October 12, 1920. Kenilworth Park, Windsor, Ontario, Canada. The most anticipated sporting event of the year. Maybe the decade. In one corner, Sir Barton, the first ever Triple Crown winner. Kentucky Derby. Preakness, Belmont. He's 4 years old, experienced, battle-tested. A proven champion. In the other, Man-o'-war, the 3-year-old sensation. Undefeated since Saratoga, faster, stronger, younger. The question everyone is asking, who is the greatest racehorse alive? The purse, $75,000. Winner take all. The richest match race in history. 40,000 people jam the grandstand. Trains bring fans from Detroit, Toronto, New York. Movie cameras roll. This will be shown in theaters across North America. In the paddock, the two champions stand 30 feet apart. Sir Barton is tense, sweating. His trainer, H.G. Bedwell, paces nervously. Man-o'-war is perfectly calm. Fustel runs a hand down his legs one more time. "You know what to do," he whispers. The horses parade to the post. 1.25 miles. Head to head. They're off. Sir Barton brakes sharply, grabbing the early lead. His jockey, Earl Sand, rates him carefully. 1 length, 2 lengths. Clarence Comer sits still on Man-o'-war, waiting. The half mile. 6 furlongs. Comer makes his move. Man-o'-war explodes. 1 stride. 2. 3. Suddenly, they're neck and neck. The crowd screams. This is it. The moment of truth. Sir Barton digs in. He's a champion. He won't quit. But Man-o'-war is relentless. Stride by stride, inch by inch, he pulls away. 3/4 of a mile. Man-o'-war is 2 lengths clear. 1 mile. 4 lengths. Sir Barton is giving everything. His jockey whips desperately. But it's not enough. Man-o'-war opens up. 5 lengths. 6. He crosses the wire 7 lengths ahead. The time, 2:03, a track record. Sir Barton, the Triple Crown champion, the proven warrior, has been demolished. The crowd erupts. Hats fly into the air. People are hugging strangers. Reporters sprint for the telegraph offices. In the winner's circle, Samuel Riddle can barely speak. There will never be another like him, he says, voice breaking. Never. Johnny Loftus, watching from the grandstand, banned, bitter, heartbroken, allows himself a smile. That's my boy, he whispers. That was always my boy. Sir Barton was a great horse, one of the best I ever trained. But that day at Kenilworth, we weren't racing a horse. We were racing a force of nature. Man-o'-war didn't just beat us. He made us look ordinary. H.G. Bedwell, Sir Barton's trainer. The debate is over. Man-o'-war is the greatest racehorse alive. Man-o'-war races 3 more times in 1920. Each victory is a coronation. Potomac Handicap, 8 lengths, carrying 138 pounds, more weight than any 3-year-old should carry. Doesn't matter. Jockey Club Gold Cup, 15 lengths, effortless. His final race, the Kenilworth Gold Cup, a rematch with Sir Barton that never happens because Sir Barton's connections forfeit. Man-o'-war walks over, literally. He parades around the track alone, collecting the purse without competition. It's a fitting end. No one will race him anymore. His final record, 21 starts, 20 wins, 1 loss. Total earnings, $249,465, equivalent to over $4 million today. The richest racehorse in American history. On November 4, 1920, Samuel Riddle announces Man-o'-war's retirement. He is 3 years old. Faraway Farm, Maryland. 1921. Man-o'-war begins his second career as a breeding stallion. The stud fee, $5,000 per mare. The waiting list, years long. Fans arrive in cars, buses, trains, just to see him. On weekends, thousands gather at the farm. He stands in his paddock, magnificent as ever, while children reach through the fence to touch him. He seems to know he's famous. Poses for photographs. Knickers at visitors. One reporter writes, "He's not just a horse, he's a diplomat." And his offspring? Champions. War Admiral wins the 1937 Triple Crown, avenging his father's missed opportunity. Crusader wins major stakes across the country. Battleship crosses the Atlantic and wins England's Grand National Steeplechase, a feat no American-bred horse had ever accomplished. Dozens of stakes winners, hundreds of champions. Man-o'-war's bloodline flows through the greatest horses of the 20th century. Secretariat, Seattle Slew, Citation, Seabiscuit. He doesn't just sire winners, he sires legends. For 27 years, Man-o'-war reigns at Faraway Farm. During the Great Depression, people journey to see him, a reminder that greatness still exists in hard times. During World War II, he's a symbol of American strength. He ages gracefully. His coat loses some of its shine, but his presence never dims. Visitors weep at the sight of him. "I brought my son," one father tells a groom in 1945. I wanted him to see what greatness looks like before it's gone. November 1st, 1947. Man o' War is 30 years old, ancient for a horse. That morning, he lies down in his stall and doesn't get up. Louis Faustel, L., now 75 years old himself, kneels beside him, strokes his neck. "It's okay, Red," he whispers. "You can rest now." At 11 a.m., Man o' War dies. Within hours, the news spreads across the nation. Radio stations interrupt programming. Newspapers run special editions. His funeral is broadcast on national radio. The first time such an honor is given to an animal. Over 2,000 people attend. His casket is lined with his racing colors, black and gold. An honor guard of soldiers stands watch. He is buried at Faraway Farm, standing upright in a massive oak casket, facing the training track where he once ran. Above his grave, they build a monument, life-size, bronze. Man o' War, frozen in time, forever young, forever powerful. He was the greatest horse that ever lived, but more than that, he was a friend, a companion, a symbol of everything beautiful in this world. We will not see his like again. Man o' War's story doesn't end with his death. If anything, it grows stronger. In 1957, he is inducted into the Racing Hall of Fame. First ballot. Unanimous. In 1977, his remains are moved to the Kentucky Horse Park in Lexington, a place of pilgrimage for racing fans worldwide. His statue stands near the entrance. Every day, thousands of visitors stop, touch the bronze, leave flowers, whisper stories. "My grandfather saw him race," one woman tells her daughter. "He said it changed his life." Generations pass the legend down. Man o' War becomes more than history. He becomes mythology. Sports Illustrated ranks him the #1 racehorse of the 20th century. ESPN calls him one of the greatest athletes, not just horses athletes, of all time. His name appears in books, films, documentaries. Children learn about him in school. He stands alongside Babe Ruth, Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, icons who transcended their sports. Was Man o' War the greatest racehorse who ever lived? Secretariat ran faster. Citation won more races. Kelso earned more money. But none of them carried his weight. None dominated their era so completely. None made champions look ordinary. And none captured the American imagination quite like Man o' War. He raced in the roaring 20s when the nation needed heroes, when sports became spectacle, when greatness meant something. He was powerful when we needed power, resilient when we needed resilience, unbreakable when we needed something to believe in. That's why his legacy endures, not because of numbers, because of what he represented. Today, over 75 years after his death, visitors still gather at his grave in Kentucky. They come from Japan, Australia, Europe, South America. They bring their children, their grandchildren. They stand before his bronze statue, and they remember. They remember the chestnut colt who stumbled at the start but never stopped running. The champion who lost once and never forgot. The legend who defeated a Triple Crown winner and made it look easy. The stallion who sired dynasties. The symbol who carried a nation's dreams on his back. Man o' War didn't just run races. He ran into history, into memory, into immortality. And on quiet mornings in Kentucky, when the mist rolls over the bluegrass and the sun breaks through the clouds, you can almost hear it, the thunder of hooves, the roar of crowds, the heartbeat of a champion who refused to be forgotten.